Fantastic. Let's see. Okay, we're just waiting for the others to come in. Okay, just checking that everything's working. It's quite a strange position to be in.
There we go. I've joined you now, Dan.
Ah, fantastic. Fantastic.
Good evening, everybody. Hello in the chat. Sound like we should be on a selling program, selling Tupperware or something.
Is everyone? Let's have a see. Let's have a look at the chat. Is everyone? Hi, Joe. Hi, Jane. Gemma. Nick. Leanne.
Leanne, all the coming thick and fast now. Carl.
There
Michelle. Oh, Gemma Palmer. Hi, hello. That's me.
Kaz is in. Stuckmass in the house. Hi, Kaz. Hi, Craig. We'll just wait to make sure that everybody's arrived. So we'll give it a couple of minutes. Emily King, how you doing, Em? It's a very different experience to hi Rory.
Hey.
Very different experience to a Zoom, isn't it?
How many people got in? Got 22 people in apparently at the moment. 22.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Taz.
Hi, Rowan. Nice to see lots of people here already.
Still got a couple more to join. I think on our guest list. We'll give it another minute, I suppose. For those that have already joined us in the chat, we're going to run a few polls as we go through the evening. So check those out and vote. Vote away. Have you voted yet, Dan, on the first one?
Did vote.
Did you? Rory, did you vote as well?
Yeah.
Hopefully. Hopefully we know. All right, we seem to be pretty stable. Should we make a start?
Yeah. Okay. Okay, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm sure there's a few more people going to pop in, but we'll make a start. Yeah, thank you for joining this webinar. we're here obviously to talk about how we can make a difference, how if there's people interested in becoming a B Corps, and how, you know, and how B Corps makes a difference in business. So we'll kick us off. I'm going to introduce myself. The guys will introduce themselves, and then we'll start working our way through. In the meantime, if you do have questions, then fire away. There'll be things popping up. But yeah, just keep the questions coming, and we'll make some time at the end to answer some of those questions. Okay, so I'll start. So my name's Dan. I am the operations manager for the Water Skills Academy. I've been probably been in the job now 14 months. Yeah, it's been great. It's been great to be part of the organisation, and we're looking forward to obviously another year and work, you know, and continuing as a B Corp company. Scott.
So I'm Scott Warren. I'm the Managing Director for Water Skills Academy, and currently only just over 2 months in post. So all new to me, this B Corp world, which is quite exciting. So something that I've not been involved in before. Interesting to sort of see the journey that the company's already been on, and obviously getting involved in that. So looking forward to it. Should we pass it down to Taz?
Yeah, evening everybody. I'm Taz from Dryrobe. I'm their sustainability manager. I've actually been in the role for about 3 weeks now, so really recent as well on my side, but I've worked with B Corps before. Yeah, that's a little introduction from me. Rory?
Hey, I'm Rory. I started dewerstone almost 10 years ago now. We've been a B Corp for just over a year, and yeah, super excited to see what we come up with today.
Fantastic. So I'm going to hand over to Taz now just to talk a little bit about the intro to B Corp and what is a B Corp and who can become a B Corp. Taz?
Amazing. Thanks, Dan. Yeah, so this should hopefully help with a question that we all got asked as we came into the room earlier. So to start off, B Corps are businesses that have gone through a really rigorous screening process to become independently certified, basically. So the process focuses on areas within the business, such as the people we're connected to, the communities we're connected to, and the planet, of course, as well. So the B Corp status also really helps customers or potential customers to basically purchase from businesses that are doing businesses for good, really. In the UK, there are currently over 1,000 B Corps, and globally, there's well over 6,000. It's a really growing movement. It started in 2006, and it's grown massively. You'll start seeing the logos everywhere you go now after this talk, I reckon. So to become a B Corp, you have to be a company that operates for profit in a competitive market and that has had 12 months worth of operations. This is so B Corp can assess all the operations you've been doing those last 12 months, and they will assess all of your actions and then help you become certified as well from assessing them. So when we become B Corps, as all four of us would know, it isn't just a complete it and move on process. You have to work really, really hard to maintain all the efforts you put in place, and you have to recertify every year. So the aim of that is you hold on to your score and everything you've been working on, and also work on things to help you improve that score as well. So what we do every 3 years is send evidence to the B Corporation to give them proof, really, of exactly what we've been doing, and making sure that they're aware that we're generally doing what we say we are. We're not just talking about it. Anything else to add from you guys?
I think you pretty much covered it there, really. It's a challenge to get, but it's definitely it's a worthy challenge for sure.
Absolutely. There's so much incorporated in B Corp, isn't there? So to get it all in one.
We were talking about it when we just a week or so ago, and actually, when you look at it as a complete process, it's massive. But actually, if you break it down into those bits and chip it away at it, it's a bit like the old the bite size thing. Remember that from back in the school days with the bite size.
Exactly that.
Okay, so just looking through. So we've got a few things to look at throughout the talk. So how can you make an environmental difference as an individual and a business? So there's a few options. The first option is banking and pensions. So you change your business banking provision to one that supports social and environmental causes. For example, switch to a community development bank that invests in affordable housing or renewable energy projects, or a bank that has a policy of not investing in fossil fuels by offering better employees benefits such as health insurance, pension plans, and paid time off. For example, you could offer paid sick leave, provide opportunities for staff to take lessons for free, and offer bonuses for good performance. So for us, and I know this is going to be similar for some of the others, we changed our bank to Triodos, which are a B Corp bank, and they're a great bank. They do got a lot of good in the community, invest a lot of money in kind of good projects. I think the only one of the downsides that we've found, and I'm sure that Rory can kind of talk about this as well, is that as part of the B Corps, they don't offer a card for businesses, so that does make it a little difficult in terms of day-to-day. So what we've found, and obviously Rory can add to this, is we had to find another bank to provide that service. Rory, do you want to say anything about that?
Yeah, I think perhaps just rewind a little bit into why banking and money is bad in the first place, so that, you know, I'm sure lots of people here already know, but all of the big banks all put all of the money into fossil fuels. And it's something like, I was just reading this stat, and it's something like during the 6 years following the Paris Agreement, the world's top 60 private sector banks pumped 4.6 trillion into fossil fuels. So after everybody had decided they were going to limit global warming and they were going to work against it and do something about it, all of those banks funded fossil fuels continually with all of their money. So the banking thing, you know, it's about moving the money away from banks that are investing in fossil fuels. And that's exactly the same as the pension. So for us, you know, it's really hard to find a bank that has those good things, but it's also not, you know, it's getting there now. There's a great website called bank.green. You can put your bank in there and you can see how good it is. So I might just do a little example now. I'll be totally honest. I've got my personal account, I've got a Halifax account, and I've got a Starling account. And I keep wanting to move away from my Halifax account because my money is funding the climate crisis. My Halifax bank doesn't top the charts, but it's still using my money to lend to fossil fuel companies and projects that are rapidly accelerating the climate crisis. So on there, on that bank.green, we'll post the link for that. You can see what your bank is doing. It can recommend banks to move to and how you can move it and how easy it is. But that's a huge thing. That's huge. We all know money makes the world go round. And if we all move our money, make a huge difference.
This might swing my poll a little bit there, Rory, if everyone's now busy typing away in bank.green and finding out if their bank is BCorp certified or not. Got an interesting point in the chat from Michelle Gardner. Says, I work in wealth management, and I'm pleased to say that a huge number of pension companies are now moving their money away from investing in fossil fuels. That's good to know. Nick's currently in the process, by look at it, moving to Triodos now, he says.
This very minute.
I'll throw that link in there now. But I mean, have a look. It's amazing, and you can be like, great options of where to move, how to move, and helps you migrate, and also shows you kind of what those banks are about. And it's something we can change, whether that's as a business or whether it's an individual. We can make that change.
That's amazing. And I think what you said, Rory, there about you having to have two different bank accounts as well with your company is also a really good point, that we can learn from each other as a BCorp. For example, at Dryrobe, that's something that we're looking into in terms of like green pensions and green banking, and we can really learn from your experiences there and how we can be doing that as well. So that's great.
So there's a good piece of information that Laura from Water Skills Academy is working away in the background here and sending me stuff. So she just found some info. Said there's several personal banks in the UK that prioritise sustainability and ethical practices. Here are some of the most sustainable personal banks in the UK today. Apparently, Triodos, Ecological Building Society, the Co-op, Charity Bank, and TripTech Bank. Interesting stuff. I'll stick that in the chat as well.
I'd be interested to know where the Bank of Dave would fall in that, because that's a community bank, isn't it? So I think he just invests in community. So it'd be interesting to find out where he sits in there.
Yeah.
Probably pretty high, but
Yeah,
we could have a look.
yeah. We should have called him onto the call. Anyone got anything else to add to that?
There's also another website called Make My Money Matter, which is all about pensions. I'll put that link in there as well.
Fantastic.
So you can, and on both of those sites, you can. It's really easy to fill in things where you can write to your bank or your pension fund. You can send things to your employer to give them information on how to move, and part of it is just starting to kind of raise that awareness and asking the questions. Who where your money is, and who people you work for, where their money is, and both those sites are really good for that.
That's super helpful.
I think we should try. Maybe we'll ask the chat. So, who's ever thought about this before from their personal bankings? Who's ever thought about the impact that their choice of bank has? Anyone fire away in the chat if you consider it or not. See if anyone thinks ahead of the game.
Thinking about the Bank of Dave, Anna.
It is a great film, isn't it? I've listed those banks as well. Everyone's thinking about Bank of Dave now.
Yeah, charity bank. Yeah,
So Nick Moses said he's changed his pensions to green already.
Okay.
Michelle's firing away with some great info with her background.
I suppose it's not completely obvious at first, is it, that you can make such that your bank has such an impact, really.
Yeah, seems to be there's a few people now saying never crossed their mind, or actually next on the list, something to think about.
I guess it's something if as an employee, you could ask your employers as well to consider these green pension plans as well, put the pressure on them to hopefully change it over.
Yeah, and I think as well to add to that, obviously we talk about Triodos not having a card option, but the more people that come over to them, the more they're going to be able to implement those kind of things. I think so. It's Kaz has switched to Monza, so that's an account we were looking at as well at one point as a secondary account. So yeah, okay, let's moving on. So renewable energy, you can reduce your environmental impact by incorporating sustainable practices such as using renewable energy, consideration of switching to a green energy supplier whose energy is derived from renewable sources. So I'll hand this off to Rory to begin with. What kind of things have you guys done? Because I know you've done quite a bit, haven't you?
Yeah. So I guess the main thing with energy is to switch to renewable energy. Sounds really obvious. I don't want to drop anyone in it, but it's pretty much no excuse. If you believe in that, you should. It's a relatively easy switch, whether that's at home or whether it's at work. I think the reality is you probably just pay a bit more, which obviously is pretty hard right now for everybody. But it's what we've got to do, and the more people that are on green tariffs or and renewable energy, the more the electric companies are going to be realizing that's the future, and that's where they're going to start investing in it. Again, just comes back to that. It's all about money for those guys. So if people start moving to green energy suppliers, those big guys are going to see, are going to start making more green energy, and they will change. So yeah, I think it's about moving to that. So all of our premises, so like our Princetown store and office, our shop in Totnes, and our screen printing facility all run on renewable energy. One of the big things we do is most screen printing places have big gas-fired dryers. We run all electric. So all of our curing of inks and things like that is all done by renewable energy. And we just had a new super smart meter installed by Octopus for Princetown that's going to be able to tell us where our energy is coming from at all different times of day. So we'll know, by the end of the year, we'll know whether we've been 30% wind powered or solar powered or whatever, which is going to be some really cool stats for that. But the options are out there, and yeah, it's fairly simple to switch.
That's super cool. And did you say that was just a trial, or was that something that we can all be getting on board with, though, that super smart meter?
It was definitely a trial when they reached out to us.
Yeah.
It must be getting more and more common. So I mean, probably now anybody can probably do it. But yeah, when they first reached out, it definitely sounded like it was a bit of a trial. And yeah, that's Octopus, who are also a B Corp company. So whilst they are an energy supplier, they are only a renewable energy supplier, and they're also a B Corp. So you know that their mission and values as a business aligns with all of ours.
We're going to try and bring that poll up on stage for everybody. So, do you have renewable energy at home? Fire away on your answer.
Amazing, perfect timing. I think
what's it like for you, Taz, in your world? What's
yeah.
it like for you?
So I was just going to say as well that even if you're not a business, you can check out what fuel mix your provider's giving you as well by typing in their name and your provider's name and the fuel mix. On Google, it'll tell you what percentage is from renewables, etc., and things like this. So you can see exactly where it's coming from anyway. In terms of dryrobe, we're with Opus. So that's 100% renewable energy tariff we've got with them for our headquarters in North Devon. As Rory mentioned, it is quite a bit more expensive and it's a bit hard, especially during the energy crisis. But again, as you said, it's something we want to support in the hope that over time those prices will reduce. And what we could be doing in the meantime is looking to reduce our energy usage as a whole by putting in timers for things such as heaters in the office and our screens and everything like this, and implementing things like different light bulbs, for example, to reduce that energy usage anyway. So whether anything changes in the future, which I hope it doesn't, I hope we stay on the green suppliers with everything like this, that we're still using as little as we possibly can. And I think that spans out as well to our supply chain and who's producing our products. We're eventually working with them to hopefully see how they can be using renewable energies. Obviously that's a bit of a harder mission there because it is working with different factories that aren't in our control, but it's something that we'll be looking into in the future.
I think as well, we're not all perfect by any means. Everything that we have in our control, we can do as good as we can. But in our Princetown building, the heating still runs on oil, and we have no control over that. We can lobby our landlord, and we still have to buy oil to put in there to heat the building, and that's not great. We try and heat it as little as possible, but that's not in our control to be able to do that. And we can lobby the landlord for that, but I think it's it's not about trying to be we're super perfect with this. It's that we're making really good choices where we can, and we recognize that we need to influence other people to try and make good choices too. So actually, as a business, we can try and influence our landlord to not only try and move away from oil heating for this building, but for all of the other properties that they have here on Dartmoor. So yeah, it's not always a squeaky clean black and white situation.
We're an interesting one from Water Skills Academy because we're all home based. We don't have a premise as such. So what we are doing, obviously, in our sort of personal home location where we work from, that's important to us to have renewable energy. But also we're challenging our supply chain. So, we're working with organisations to supply our clothing, for example. So we're looking at that and saying, actually, are you also yourself using renewable energy? Bear in mind that some of these companies are very small and also working from home, and actually challenging them with that as well. And it's small pieces that make that big picture. Yeah. Throughout that whole supply chain, whatever it is, whether it's small scale or big scale.
We've got an employee environmental management policy as well to kind of help us develop and kind of maintain a more kind of eco eco-friendly houses. So we'll look at how we can develop that, and obviously each member of the staff. But we, as Scott said, we don't have a HQ. It's a bit different for us because we don't essentially make a product. Obviously we get t-shirts, things like that, not so like Dryrobe and Dewerstone they have a factory and things like that. We're a training body, so we don't necessarily need a HQ. Our HQ is wherever where we run in the training, so it's a slightly different thing for us.
The poll's been quite interesting. We've got 65% say no, don't have renewable energy at home, and 35% says yes. I don't know if anyone's been watching. I'm a bit of a Guy Martin fan. So I've been watching his renewable energy and energy crisis program recently, and it's quite insightful actually how the cost prices are set by the highest price energy, and that's currently gas at the moment, and everything else will be matched to that. So regardless of whatever it costs and the scale of the supply itself, it's always matched. So it's that's quite an interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's currently being challenged. He does some really interesting things at home actually. So he does. He's got a wood burner that he uses to try and heat his home. He's actually got a backup generator which runs on recycled motor oil as well. So rather than using obviously new supply of oil, he's using stuff that would be normally thrown away, have very little use, and lots of other areas like ground source heat pumps as well, and wind turbines. And that, because the downside of renewable energy, if it's a wind farm, it's got to be windy. If it's a wave generating power, it's got to be wavy, etc., etc. But it's 3 or 4 different elements can make up a picture rather than just one big. Oh, we're just going to throw some coal in the fire and see what happens. I think that's it's interesting to look at it as a more complete picture, isn't it?
Okay. Have we got any more questions coming in? I see Gemma's writing something.
Kaz said obviously over 100% renewable. She's had some fun with some solar charging batteries set up for her board inflation at home. There you go.
That's
Great
really
use of renewable energy, isn't it?
Yeah.
One of my friends is kind of I can't remember what the heating system is. So you remember like the old Arga cookers. So it warms up, but it warms the whole house.
Yeah.
And it uses stones, so it heats the stones, and the stones kind of stay like that and heat the rest of the house. And obviously they can do that with water now as well. So these systems are all being kind of looked at and developed.
I'm just going to throw another poll in before we move on. So let me just get this up. This will be an interesting question for everybody. I'll stick it up in the main screen as well. 2 seconds. All right, here we go. Let's see what the vote comes down. Oh, yes, very popular. There you go.
Great.
In the chat then, just give us some ideas of what you're doing at home and what you do in your personal lives as well. That'd be interesting to see what you've considered. Fire away.
Okay. So other ways we can make an impact is better journey planning, which can also help a business be more environmentally friendly. By reducing the amount of unnecessary travel, business can lower their carbon footprint. By choosing more environmentally friendly travel options, such as airlines with more fuel-efficient planes, trains and public transport for in-person meetings where possible, and hotels that prioritize sustainability initiatives, offsetting the emissions associated when the journey is absolutely necessary. So for us, we're in the process of obviously calculating our carbon footprint, and we're trying to look at effective ways to offset anything if we have to kind of use flights to get to some of our trips. Obviously, journey planning is a really big one. One of the things we've looked at is our impact on the environments we work in. So obviously we work in beautiful areas, River Wye, Scotland, Sweden, and one of the things we've looked at is reducing the amount of trips that we do. to have less of an impact. So I was at a meeting the end of last year, and obviously some of you may or may not know the River Wye is really struggling at the minute. There's a lot of things, a lot of clashes between obviously farming and things like that. So one of the options we looked at is reducing the amount of trips we do and having an impact when the water's low to avoid damaging the riverbed and disturbing the ecology of the area. Other options is driving kit rather than flying kit. So driving things out and staying in situ while we deal with some of that stuff. Other elements is not so. Companies tend to swap equipment out on a yearly basis. So what we're trying to do is avoid that. So we're holding on to. So obviously we work with companies like Palm and Starboard. Starboard are a B Corp. And we are holding on to our kit for a few years rather than just replacing it after a year. So we'll keep that for as long as it's good, and then we'll find ways to move that on to replace again with more stuff from Starboard. Again, we're shopping with a B Corps, so we're kind of making decisions with our wallet.
Just going to jump in there, Dan, because Jess Phillips in the chat said actually a good point there, reducing the times, the replace kit and repair where possible. So yeah, just sort of match that as well.
Yeah, reuse, recycle. And I'm just, have I missed any places? One of the other things we've looked at is in the areas that we actually work, we're looking to work with local initiatives. So, for example, we've been speaking to the guys in Sweden, and there's a local initiative to put in long drop composting toilets in the area to save people from doing the obvious things in such a delicate environment. So they've got initiative to build solar powered self-sufficient toilets on these little islands. So we're looking at how we can potentially support something like that when we're in the area. Rory or Taz?
Rory, would you like to go first?
Yeah, sure. I'll be pretty quick on journeys. Obviously, COVID changed the world. We all started doing these like online Zoom things that cut loads of journeys. We learned that we can do more of these and less in person. And actually, that kind of has settled back into like we can do less in person because we're aware it's a journey that we don't really need to make. And then when we do in person things, we can try and make them more valuable. We can try and see more people at once, rather than going on one journey just to see one retailer or something. We can make it a couple. There's lots of easy things out there to try and make those journeys better, whether it's Skyscanner with greener options or the train line with greener options, or even Google Maps shows the most kind of the greenest way to drive now. Also for us, we've got to factor in the journeys of our products. So whether that's from where we're making them overseas or to here for us to then distribute, or whether we're shipping them out from here to people that buy online or to our shops, how we're doing that. And there's a few kind of, there's greener ways to do that. One of the things we did that really helped us is we did our climate neutral certification. First time we did that was in 2019, where we measured all of our carbon emissions across the whole business. And once you've measured it, you can work on reduction. And through that, we learned lots of interesting ways as to how we can bring our carbon emissions down. And then once you've gone to the effort of measuring it, you may as well offset it at the same time. And whilst we could probably have another webinar on offsetting, I feel that if you've gone to the effort of measuring it, the least you can do is offset it. And so we've just completed our climate neutral certification for 2022 for our carbon emissions. And what's really good is we can see reductions in what we said we would do. So in 2019, we said we would get rid of air freight. That's huge. We got rid of air freight. We moved to sea freight, and that changes our emissions. It's huge. That's journeys of our products that have huge emissions if they're coming by air. We've all but reduced that now just by moving to sea freight. And in some cases, we actually use trains as well. And then at this end, when we're shipping things out, we use DPD, which is a climate neutral delivery service. I think we can, again, argue about that all day long, but it's recognizing the journeys those products go on as well and doing something about it.
Amazing. And then at Dryrobe, for example, and it's very similar to what you're doing at Geostone, really. We do have it written into our corporate policy about traveling to work and using the best method available to reduce emissions. And what we've done recently is install a shower at our headquarters so people can run into work, they can cycle into work. We're quite well connected to a thing called the Tarka Trail, which is a cycling route and a walking route as well. So it's super nice for anyone who wants a lovely little journey into work and not using their car, for example, which is lovely. What we're going to be doing in the next 12 months, hopefully, is bringing in a hybrid vehicle for our company travel, our business mileages, to reduce the reliance on the diesel vehicle we've currently got. So as we know, everything's a work in progress. We're trying to find the best possible solution. In terms of journey miles, we need to be aware that an electric vehicle isn't going to get us to where we need to go. If we are going to a meeting in person, for example, we need to find something that's going to be sustainable for us in the long term. So at the moment, that's looking at a hybrid vehicle, for example. Also at Dryrobe, same as Geostone, we're using shipping at the moment, which does have a lot less emissions than flights. And we have been looking at rail as well. There's a lot of development to happen with the rail routes in terms of distribution from our suppliers, in terms of routes and where they're going via, to make sure there's no disruption. And there's a big issue at the moment where the price of shipping is so cheap that it is really hard to pull away from as well. But the rail routes just aren't there right now in terms of distribution from the supplier. Same with Dewerstone as well, with the distribution of products here in the UK. We are using DPD as well. It turns out they seem to be the best ones at the moment. We want a service that's reliable for the good product that we are distributing as well. So we want the whole service to be really, really good, as well as being the best for the environment at the same time.
I think there's a lot we can learn from other industries as well. I mean, there was a program a few years ago presented by James May. It was about the Mini factory in just outside Birmingham, and they produce so many cars that basically every 50 seconds a brand new Mini rolls off the production line, and they are no one of them has ever been alike, because of the ability to choose, obviously, your own spec, your own carpet, your own mats, colours, combinations, engines, whatever else. But interestingly, they run it so efficiently that they don't sit on loads of excess stock, causing them to need extra warehouse space. And quite literally, as the stockpile of bumpers, for example, runs out, a new stock is just being delivered, literally just in time. It's that just in time model of production. And it's amazing. They were saying if they had to stockpile enough components to be able to make all these cars individually, essentially, they would need twice the size of the factory or something like that. Of course, then that goes down the energy, amounts of usage, doesn't it? Obviously, the personnel needed then, which would be travelling to work to man a warehouse just to sit on stock, and their whole infrastructure and stuff is set up. So it's literally, lorries are lined up on the M4, M5, whatever, coming into the factory to deliver new parts, ready to go on a car in the next hour, and that'll be off on the production line and off to the customer, which is amazing, really. You consider how every 50 seconds a new car is made, essentially. Pretty amazing.
Okay, so number 4, giving back to the community. So you give back to the community by volunteering time and resources, donating to charitable organisations and supporting local businesses. Beach clean events, donating a percentage of your profits to a local charity or 1% for the planet, and partnering with local businesses to cross-promote each other, are all the ways in which you can increase your BCorp score. So for those who don't know, we are a 1% for the planet, and we give to 2 charities, actually. We Save Our Rivers is one, and Seafull is the other. One of the so since I came over to Water Skills Academy, my background, as some of you may know, is in special education. So I developed outdoor programs and musical programs in schools, and developed surf and sup programs. And essentially what I did as a WSA instructor is I ran some free clubs after school, and obviously within school time as well. And that's something that I continued when I came into this job. So it was actually one of the things I said I wanted to maintain when I came over, for selfish reasons, because I miss my old pupils dearly, but it's also, it's a great thing to do. So one of the things we continue to do is work with this local school. One of the other areas we're working with a charity called Reclaim the Sea, and this is supporting women refugees that suffered severe trauma during boat crossings. So what we're doing with those ladies is we're working to rebuild that love of the ocean, and we're training them up actually to become SUP instructors. So we're hopefully, rebuilding that confidence in themselves and in the ability to be out in the water and enjoying nature. So that's where we are, and they're the kind of things we look to do. Anyone, Rory or Taz, would you like to add something?
Yeah, I can jump in. We do all kinds of things. Also members of 1% for the Planet, which I think is a great way for people to get involved. You can join 1% for the Planet as a business and as an individual. We recently just did a litter pick, and we did it as part of the Surfers Against Sewage Million Mile Clean, which basically meant that all our staff time was classed as volunteer time for 1% for the Planet. We cleaned up our local area, and Surfers Against Sewage are going to use the data that we collected to help lobby the government against plastic pollution. That's something that anybody can do. On the Surfers Against Sewage website, you can find a clean near you. You can join it. You could start your own, which is what we did. We're going to start monthly ones from the shop in Princetown as part of that. But there's lots you can do. So for us, our kind of way we do things is we do 1% for the Planet, where we give away 1% of our annual revenue to environmental nonprofits, and then we give another 1% to social good. So on the 1% side, we also work with Save Our Rivers, Ghost Fishing UK like Dryrobe, Gila Eco Trust, Eden Reforestation, Surfers Against Sewage. The list is getting long now. On the social good side, we do a lot of screen printing things for schools, colleges, universities, arts projects. We get people printing all their own T-shirts, and basically getting people to discover art, kind of the way we did. We learned to screen print T-shirts in the garage. We help facilitate that for people all over the UK and all over the world to some extent. That's kind of our giving side.
Lovely. At Dryrobe, we have a dedicated area called the Warmth Projects that we support. So this is where we give support to non-profit organisations, really, to help people get access to the outdoors, enjoy outdoor activities, enjoy the benefits, and help protect what we love as well. So this includes things like we've been supporting a 2-minute beach clean in their summer school. So this is helping children and adults learn even more about how they can be protecting the environment, like joining them on beach cleans as well, just to get the awareness up there, and they can share that around with everyone else they know as well. Other things as well, like Seafall with Cal Major's paddleboarding charity as well, to helping people access water who may not actually get to have a go at that normally. We've also got the Wave Project that they're helping children reach the oceans as well, enjoy surf therapy. So this is helping with their mental health and becoming more confident and increasing their social skills too. So we support a range of charities. We've also got the RNLI as well, and we have huge donations to them every year. We haven't contributed to 1% for the Planet as yet, because we are supporting many different charities that might be a bit smaller. We just want to help in as many different areas where we can. We've got all these connections and all these charities that we can give warmth to help them do even more. That might be local, they might be further afield, for example, but we try and help every way we can, especially if people are in the water environment and need to have that bit of warmth to keep them enjoying the outdoors for a little bit longer as well.
I might just jump in on there as well. A bit of a common misconception with 1% for the planet is that you give your money to 1% for the planet. So you actually give it directly to the non-profit organizations you're supporting. So I think in many cases, when it comes to businesses, they might find that what they're actually already doing is really good. And actually 1% for the planet would just accreditate that giving that they're already doing. So if you're already giving to environmental non-profits through some of your other things, you could become 1% for the planet just by that accreditation. So we were working with the Gili Eco Trust out in Indonesia, and we got them through their 1% for the planet application, and now other people can give to them as well. Actually, I think that was the same for Save Our Rivers as well, and got them set up on 1% for the planet years and years ago. But yeah, 1% for the planet can really be really good for accreditation. That's kind of similar for B Corp as well. It rewards and accreditates you for the good that you're already doing. So if you are a good business, or you're doing things that are already good, you don't have to change the world to pass those certifications. It accreditates you for the good that's already going on.
Yeah, I think another example of that is I know at Dewerstone as well, you've got the 2 volunteer days for all employees as well. Like, that's such a simple way for everyone to get on board and just do something locally as well. Like, we've got that, and our employees help a range of different charities, whatever their interest is as well. So it's super nice, and it's super relatable for that person as well.
Seems like we've got a good number of people that are volunteering actually from an environmental sustainability driven organisations. That seems like a very key thing for our audience this evening. Lots of people supporting the charities or organisations we've mentioned in the chat as well.
Fantastic. Yeah, sorry, I was getting thrown out then for a minute. Sorry, apologies.
You're off. You're back. You never left. Never left.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
there's another one in there where it just says, as a small business, I feel like donating time is just as valuable for my money. That's just, another 1% misconception is you have to give 1% of money. Actually, that 1% breaks down in all different ways, and you can split it across pure financial, which has to be part of it. You can do volunteer time, you can do pro bono time, and you can do product in kind. So there is kind of it might not be as financially taxing as you possibly think, especially if you're already doing volunteer time. You'd already be ticking some of those boxes. And again, going back to that accreditation for the good that you're already doing, might be worth looking at. You could already be fulfilling those requirements.
You've got your next poll up on the screen. That'd be an interesting one on that conversation, maybe.
Good question.
Seems like lots of people are saying yes.
It just made me think of the flip of that, and I was like, I read it and I was like, have we ever boycotted customers due to company environmental or social concerns? And I think we probably have a good one on that. In the Princetown store, we have a great coffee machine, but we don't do takeaway. We don't do takeaway cups, and we actively say, we don't do throwaway, we don't do single-use abuse, and it can be a real turn-off for people, and we lose customers because of that. But actually, our values as a brand mean that we don't do takeaway cups.
Selling, worked at a water sports centre for a while and a cafe. We moved to recycled canned water, and people say coming in, it's on public footpath as well, or permitted path. People used to come in summer, get an ice cream and a drink. Can I have a bottle of water, please? You give them a can, and they are so confused. What's this? I don't want a drink. I want some water. No, here's water. Haven't got it. Amazing. Every time, literally every time.
And then, so just moving on to the final thing before we take more questions is voting with your wallet, which I think is fairly self-explanatory. We hold the power as shoppers, really, so we can make those decisions, financially for the bigger companies. So, like we've said in the past, we Starboard is one of our main. Our main products that we buy. They're a B Corp company. There are others out there that we've looked at. We try to look at. I'm always looking out. So I just said recently to Laura, there was a company for some snacks. There was a B Corp snack, and instantly you want to go to it. Same for Clean Canteen to offer customers a mug with our trips. So Clean Canteen. So you're making them decisions personally. Anyone who knows me knows I've got a Patagonia issue, but it's it's ethical. It's an ethical company. It's a great company. What do you guys? Any examples for you guys?
Yeah, I think that companies that obviously are B Corp, but one, like if you're doing voting with your wallet, then buy something that's going to last a very long time, something that's like really well made, really good quality. For example, Vivo Barefoot, they're amazing quality, and they have the return scheme where they fix the product. You can buy secondhand as well, so you're not buying a completely new product, you're saving resource materials as well. So things like that, like you've got a choice there of your wallet. It's your money that you've really worked really hard to earn. Spend it on something that you're going to love for a long time and use for a very long time too.
I know me personally, and I get funny looks when I'm down the beach, and I'm always showing off my surf sup and paddles and things like that. But to be honest with you, I think it's really important. One of the big things is to take care of your kit. So like say, a lot of companies now are doing those repairs. I've just replaced my leash after about 8 years. It's lasted, but I think that's a key.
Yeah, record that then.
Honestly, I was gutted. It was gutted. It was part of me. But I think it's really important that you're not just kind of buying stuff all the time and just throwing it away. It's can you repair it? Can you look after it more? Can you store it properly? I think these are all decisions that obviously will impact many areas of your life, many areas of your business, and obviously they've got a positive impact on the world around us.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it comes back to that vote with your wallet. The big guys will only listen if it's about money. So whether it's banking, whether it's about pensions, whether it's about where you spend the money in your wallet, that's what's going to instigate change on a major scale. And we can all play a part in that, whether we're a business or an individual, from the brands we buy to what we don't buy.
Cool.
Seems like there's plenty of chat going on, and there's been some good responses to the poll. So thanks for that. If you've got any questions, if you want to start putting them into the chat now, and then we'll open the floor up and see if we can get some answers to you. Hopefully, fingers crossed. No pressure.
Alpkit are another BCorps company. We use them for our tents and things like that. So they're a great company. I think are they a staff-owned company like Paramo as well?
I don't think so. They're a customer-owned company because they did a crowdfunding raise.
Yeah.
So, I think there's still some people there that own some quite large portions of it, but they also have 2,000 customers that own a share of it as well.
Seems to be
loving the chat.
Or who's Revio? What is that?
I think we could just sit here and watch the chat pop off. It's
quite good, isn't it? Is Starboard the only B Corp sub company? Stephen, I think you're gonna have to go and do some search on that one.
I think so.
Do we know of them? I think they are, aren't they?
I think so, but I think there's another one that is very close.
I used to work for the UK distributor for Starboard, so I was involved with all their environmental, like they were really on it. This is like back into 2014, 2015, with some hugely ambitious targets before carbon neutral was really a popular thing. And it now makes sense because obviously B Corp's part of that process for them. And it's amazing to see they built a whole new factory, a whole new HQ and test facility, and sort of a development area there to their headquarters, purely to be carbon negative, way before it was even really a sort of hot topic, if you like, back in
Funny you should say that, Scott. I used to be their environmental manager, and we used to be we used to get hit with these like really crazy ideas, like let's do this, and we're like, okay, we'll do it for the environmental reasons. And it was just because we were the first ones to do it. It was very hard to get things in place, but once you do it, like, this is really beneficial. This has really worked. Like
there's a good story, isn't there, from Sven? Actually, it answers the question. So board recycling, Caroline Dawson Kaz has just said it's a really big issue. Is there any pros there? I remember Sven went out to a lot of the icebox manufacturers in Thailand and was challenging them to make their foam cores, any recycling. So they make hundreds of thousands of them, don't they, and just thrown into the waterways there. And they said, no, it can't be done. And actually they made a 50% recycled one, and it had the same properties, the same strength, the same molding capabilities as a brand new product. So there's also some interesting things on using natural materials. Again, Starwood led the way, didn't they, with like hemp and various other things. I mean, natural materials.
Bamboo's been a popular one.
Yeah.
Just seeing if there's bluefin sup sustainability. Just looking at some options out there. I have some Finisale leggings and Rashmans that have lasted 5 years of solid wear and still going strong. And cycle tops for sup that are lovely. Okay, so Joe Mosley. Hi, Joe. She's talking about Finisterre, another company that are a Ulex. I think they're a Ulex wetsuit company. How many people? Pardon?
BCorp as well.
Yeah. How many people use Ulex wetsuits? What's their? Yeah.
But I also have a wetsuit that's not Ulex, but the Ulex one is very nice.
Yeah.
That's a good
poll. Typing away. What you're going to type, Joe? It could be a long one here. Still typing. I'll stick another quick poll up before we get to the end. This is be an interesting one as well. Let's see what percentage we get back.
I think in response to Craig's question there, like how to really tell if a company is sustainable, I think it's look at their certifications really and make sure they're really credible with what they're doing. In terms of recycled materials, you're looking for like the GRS certification to make sure that that recycled material is tracked back to the source, for example. In terms of organic cotton, you're looking for the GOTS standard there as well. Like any certifications you see, like do some really good research into what you're seeing. A lot of them will have a trace back right to the source of where that material is sourced from. For example, if it's the farmer, or it might be the location of where that plastic bottle might have been collected for that recycled plastic material. Just do a lot of research there. It's really hard to tell in terms of like whether that's really true what people are saying, but I think look at the reviews, look at the accreditations they're saying about.
Yeah, and I think ask them, I know we're a reasonably small company, but I mean, if you ask a question about Dewerstone and you send it in, email or Instagram or whatever, it will go to someone in the office who knows the answer or will find out the answer. So that's if I'm looking at something and I'm not sure, I'll just straight up hop on the live chat, ask them the question. If they can't answer it, it's probably greenwashing.
True.
Fantastic. Craig's typing something now. Joe says, yes, wetsuits are quite a big problem. Yeah. We were discussing this before. The surf industry is, it's a bit of a tough one, that, isn't it?
So we go back to wearing marigold gloves and putting hot water in them, but I don't know if that solves the problem, does it?
Woolly jumpers. Jumpers and beaver tails.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's great, Craig. If they can't provide that information for you, then probably stay away.
I think it's companies are almost expecting to be challenged out, especially if they've got the answers, aren't they? They kind of welcome it because it shows that they're on point, aren't they? And, we don't just see it in our world; we see it across all sorts of industries now, don't we? But, food is a huge one, isn't it? Can you trace your food back? Why are you buying tomatoes from Peru, for example?
Yeah, no, exactly that point. Like if you're buying fruit from the shop, like you see blueberries that are grown in, I don't know, like South America, and you're like, I'm pretty sure we grow them here. And like just checking out what's grown locally in that season as well, like over where we are in the UK or wherever we are in whichever country we're in.
If you go on the great thing of Google Maps or Google Earth and have a look in southern Spain, you'll see an absolutely massive area which looks like silver, and it's all the polytunnel tents where they grow all the fruit and veg for the UK.
Wow.
And I can't remember the scale of it, but it was I saw it in a program, and it is colossal. It's like a small county which is just purely to grow veg out of season.
Wow.
Which is ridiculous.
The best thing we can do is grow our own, I guess, if you've got space in your garden.
Absolutely.
I think with anything, when you're buying, like, I know obviously there's a lot of talk about wetsuits. It's about, if you can buy if you buy a quality product, made ethically, and you can make it last. I think that's the important thing. While the technologies are being improved, you just kind of just shop a bit mindfully and just say look after your kit and make it last as long as possible. Like I say, I've got a 12-year-old wetsuit behind me, the old O'Neill RG8, which is recycled bottles, and I can still wear it now.
That lasts longer than a new suit, actually, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's true. It's lasted a long time. It's kind of there now. It's kind of there, but so I've just replaced it with another company, SR Face or Surface, and they're pretty good company as well. So, okay, team. So it looks like we've come to the end. I just want to say thank you to everyone for joining us. Thanks for the questions. Real big thanks to Rory and Taz from Dewerstone and Dryrobe, and Scott. We hope, obviously, this has been a help. If you've got questions, you can obviously you get in touch with us, and we'll answer them where we can, and we'll hopefully get this posted up so you can access it and go through it again. But for the time being, thank you very much, and we wish you luck in all your businesses. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks to everyone commenting and voting in the polls as well. Really great to see.
Take care.